Well, for $20, it's a fake.
All right, let's go. Let's do this.
Okay.
Got to be on time.
Don't yell at me. Okay. We're actually 5 minutes early. Here we go. Welcome to Building Success Series with Nick Ainis, author of Building Success, The Art of Real Estate Investing, and Building Success, Start a Business, Grow a Business. We're here to break down real estate investing, business growth, and making money. No fluff, no gimmicks, just straight strategies from experts and insiders who've built success. If you're ready to level up and create wealth, you're in the right place. Let's go.
Hello. Get that video on, eh?
You know, every episode, the video's on whether you see it or not. Okay?
No, I have to see it.
Do you need to see a sunset to know the sun's going down?
No, I don't.
What do you think of my...
Your intro, I'm going to critique your intro a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
So, you got to go a little bit... I think you're talking too slow. You got to pick up the pace.
Because the music... Okay, I am talking slow. I don't talk that slow.
If you were in an opera or something like that, I think Wolf Amadeus would have fucking booted you out.
You want me to do another run at it?
No.
Here's the deal.
No.
So, Nick...
What would the show be if we didn't do this stuff on live?
So this is a great start because you're gonna, teach me some lessons today. You're gonna mentor me, but I gotta also sometimes I'm gonna push back a bit. And in that regard, I'm gonna tell you, I feel the music. So you got this beat still in the background, and it kind of gets me hyped up. And then I sort of ride the beats like I'm a rapper. I
get it.
So I'm I do slow my cadence.
I think you know what I get you there, and I know you feel it, but I think you're a little off.
Okay.
Are you a musical guy?
No, I just like listening.
You like listening, but you're not I'm a musical guy.
Okay, so I need to go. So I will be faster next time, but
you got to go. You're a little bit slow on the beat. How's that?
Okay. Well, that's good. So right off the top, some good feedback.
Yeah, there you go.
How are you doing, Nick?
Oh, I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Okay. How are you feeling about the Canadian election results?
Well, I mean, you have to be okay with it no matter what. I mean, we had an election and that was it. You win, you lose.
You don't have to be okay with it. I mean, you got to live with it, but you don't.
I mean, it doesn't look like there was any cheating or anything like that, but...
Okay.
I didn't expect it. I thought, even though the polls said the Liberals were going to win, my take on it is that the NDP was in such a bad condition that most of those votes went for the Liberals. So, and the fear of Trump, was another factor.
Without a doubt, but it was surprisingly a bunch, especially in Toronto, a bunch of those NDP voters actually went conservative. Like, it's a new phenomenon. So yeah, a bunch went to the Liberals and they won handedly. But the Conservative Party of Canada did pick up votes that would traditionally go to NDP.
Yeah, they did. All I'm going to say is that, look, he's the Prime Minister.
Mark Carney.
I'm not going to say his name.
Not me.
I'm not going to say his name. But...
Really?
No, he's the Prime Minister, Mark Carney.
Yeah.
I said his name. You made me say his name, even though I do this.
He's a good guy, though, right? You're not worried about this.
Hang on. I'm not finished
Let
yet.
me hear you.
Okay. So he's our Prime Minister. You have to give him a chance. Okay. I'm going to say the only benefit that I can see is that he is an economist. So hopefully he's going to help growth in Canada. That's my hope. Sounds like he's already buddies with Trump because he was before.
Trump respects him.
Well, I don't know about that.
I got that vibe.
I didn't pick up on that. I think he just knows him and there's that connection there. So it's helpful for Canada. Let's see. Hopefully he won't be way left. What can I say? Radical left. That's the word.
You know, he's a bit of a centrist in that regard. I don't think he's radical left, as you said. I think he's a bit of a centrist. So I feel like we can all come together under Mark Carney.
Well, I don't know about coming together, but at least I'm going to give him a chance. Like, you know what? I'm not like anti this or anti that. I feel like he's got ideas. So that's where, that's what I was looking for in a prime minister, even though I didn't vote for him. Because I won't vote for Liberals because of the last 10 years, just because, I don't believe in, giving someone else a chance where they failed for 10 years. A party was in power for 10 years. I don't like a lot of their policies or their ideological outlook. But, we're going to give them a chance. That's all.
No, Nick,
that's the kind of type of person I am. At least, you say, hey, you lose, that's okay. The guy seems to be like he's saying the right things right now. Let's wait and see. And we're going to give him a chance.
That's great to hear. Now, quick question, follow up, and then we'll move on with building success. You're going to help me build success today.
I hope.
It's a tough challenge for
you. Could be a complete disaster.
Might need to be a mini series. I don't know if we could do this in 45 minutes. But you said you were not going to vote for the Liberal Party of Canada because of what's happened since 2015. I know you well enough to know you weren't going to go vote for the Green Party or the NDP. Therefore, is it safe to say it didn't matter to you who the leader was? You were going to vote for the Conservative Party of Canada regardless of who the leader was.
Yes, that's right. No matter what.
You didn't consider the PPC party.
Because I wouldn't be able to come home if I voted Liberal.
No one knows how you vote, though. You're private in that booth.
Yeah, I can't. I don't lie to my wife.
Okay. So your
if
wife...
I voted Liberal, then I would not be allowed to come back in the house.
We're learning about you right now because it sounds like your wife has great influence over you. Is it safe to say she also wanted the Conservative Party to win?
What can I say? She's a great woman. Yeah, she's very anti-liberal, anti-left, radical left.
Would she like me?
Probably. I would say so, yeah. Why not?
Will I meet her on June 26th?
I think if you're like the way you are with me, then you have your thoughts and we can respect each other's positions, but we're friends, right?
Yeah, I like to think so. I'm not a...
Or we're not friends?
No, I'm just saying. I like to think we're buds and we have different perspective on things and we can have conversations.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Like, just because you're, not because of you. I mean, just because we have different thoughts and opinions and perspectives on things, that's what makes the relationship interesting, right?
Well, I'm always learning from you. And I'm going to learn how to build success because
let's hope
you know the recipe.
Yeah, so this is what so I think here I'm always brainstorming and evolving, right? So Building Success series, there's 2 books. There's one about investing, and then there's another one about business. So we have these, occasionally, we're going to book someone, and we're going to do these live one-on-one coaching sessions to see if we can improve someone's business or if someone has a great idea they want to get off the ground. We're going to do this one-on-one live coaching. So, if we ever do some double headers for the podcast, we're going to do one on real estate, the other one on business. So pretty exciting, huh?
Well, it's exciting, but it's also a little scary that if you're being coached, because I don't know how intrusive this will be. I don't know how uncomfortable this will be. Like I'm in your hands. It's all recorded, and I'm vulnerable.
Yeah, you know what? That's the way it is, though. So I'll just be honest with you. I've been coached before as well. Sometimes it can be pleasant. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable. But I think you have to take it from a perspective, I'm here to learn something. So, sure. And I'm not saying that I have the answers, okay? Not yet. I'm not like, I'm new to this too. So
also, when you were coached, they probably didn't record it to put it into public.
No, they didn't. That's right.
So it's a little different.
Well, I did it live in front of other people, though.
Okay.
So there was like maybe 100 people on the stage. Wow. The guy was not. He's very famous in the USA.
Who is he?
JT Fox, and he was a nice guy. But you know what? He's good, but I think he's not he's not truly understanding who people are and what they're doing, and they're not listening to their ideas. So I think that's, I didn't think he was good at getting to the bottom of who he was talking to. So for me, he didn't really ask me too many questions. He was asking the wrong questions. I saw that with other people as well. But he's very successful. He's smart, no question about it. He's been doing this for years. And right now I'm getting coached from a group out west in Vancouver. And it's construction and real estate related. So it's actually amazing so far. So I'm learning a lot.
It's fascinating to consider that it's key to never stop learning. Like you'll never have all the answers. You'll never know it all. You need that different perspective throughout your career.
Yeah. And I think, you're coming from a background, like I'm not like, I didn't come from I didn't go to an MBA program or anything like that. I was just like an entrepreneur with a vision. And so I've taken it to a point where, yes, Fusion Corp has done some amazing projects, and we're very credible now, and it's exciting. But at the same time, I want to learn. I want to do better. I want to be able to. I've got other things that I'm looking at doing as well, and I got to be able to sort of expand my horizons and make my business run almost by itself. And I'm trying to get it to that phase. Well, it's almost like succession planning, I would say.
Okay. Well, very brief before we rock and roll here. Very brief cross promotion where I want to tell you I got feedback yesterday from a gentleman named Jeremy about how much he's enjoying your other podcast. So I just want to let the listeners of this podcast know that Nick Ainis has a podcast called Building Toronto's Skyline. And the feedback I got yesterday from Jeremy is how much he learned from your episode with Jack Mesley about the 50th anniversary of CN Tower. So I just want to pass that on. I got that info from Jeremy Hopkin yesterday.
And who is Jeremy, by the way?
Jeremy's like a historian. He's like a Toronto historian.
Excellent. Well, I should invite him to the show.
So he would be happy to do it. So Building Success listeners should also subscribe to Building Toronto Skyline.
Yeah, you should do I got a new website too. You should check it out.
What is it?
It's just go to nickainis.com.
Okay, well, I want to make sure people know where to go. Nick Ainis. Can you spell Ainis for people?
Ainis. Ainis.
And that's Greek, right?
Yes.
Well, it's all Greek to me.
Well, I told you the story. Ainis was an ancient city in Greece.
Okay.
It was they made coins.
Right.
Building success.
Okay, well, let's see. And also building success and building
money. It's all about money. No, listen, I'm not crazy about money. Obviously everybody loves money. But you do it because you love what you do. So just to be able to wake up every day and create, I think that's the main goal.
So quick question before you dive in and coach me on building success is, how do you define success?
Waking up and loving what you're doing. And you've got to it's got to be somewhat profitable.
I was going to say, what if you don't have a pot to piss in, as they used to say?
Well, it's not easy. So like I said, it's, you still can do it even if you don't have any money. You just have to find something that you love to do and do it.
Okay.
Take a small step if you have to.
I'll take a small step, and I'm going to take a small...
You did that, didn't you?
Well, that's it. So I'm taking a sip of my coffee. I'm braced now.
Well, take a sip. Put something in it if you need to. Because here we go.
I got some screech here, actually, from Newfoundland. So I'm in your hands. From now on, you are now coaching me. I am in your hands.
So here we go. My guest today is Toronto's very own Mike Boone, better known as Toronto Mike. He's the host of the long-running Toronto Mike podcast, where he's interviewed hundreds of the city's most influential voices in media, music, sports, and business. Beyond his show, Mike also helps others bring their stories to life through podcast production and consulting. Today, we're flipping the script with Mike in the hot seat for a live business coaching session. There you go.
Did you write that?
I did.
You didn't get AI to spit that out? Look, I know. Is that ChatGPT? What are you using over there?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I do. I sit down. I can't. And by the way, I'm going to also last cross promotion. It's in my nature. But Nick Ainis is returning to my podcast, Toronto Mic'd. We're going to get to know Nick a little better. I know some areas I want to explore with Nick.
I'm going to bring my martial arts instructor too.
Okay, what's his name?
Anil.
Anil. So, Ainis and Anil.
Yeah, Ainis and Anil.
I like that.
Okay, I don't.
All right, and thank you for that intro.
Okay, let's go, Mike.
I'm ready.
No, put your other hat on now. Okay.
Okay.
We're flipping.
I'm guest now.
We're flipping the switch. Okay. Okay, so give me a quick background, Mike, and tell me about your media entrepreneur journey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
easier on the other side.
What were you doing before this?
Okay. So,
and how'd you come up with the idea? So tell us.
All right. So here's the Reader's Digest version here, which is I get a honors BA from University of Toronto.
Can't do nothing with that.
Well, it opens to it. Okay, I'm going to say this because I'm, this is the 90s. Okay, Nick, you remember the 90s.
Yeah.
I feel like many jobs I got, corporate full-time jobs I got, to get the interview, you required post-secondary education. Like you needed to have a piece of paper that said, I completed something after high school. Like a lot of jobs. Now, I don't know like whether you could have faked that. And I don't know whether, I was always thinking, well, at least if they go through the U of T and see, I'm not lying. I have a diploma. I should hang it on the wall in here. Maybe I'll hang it right there. Yeah. My 98 honors BA there. But so I got an honors BA from the U of T. And then literally the day after my last exam, I started my first full-time job. And I was in marketing. Mm-hmm. And I spent, I'll say from like 1998 to 2018. Oh, that's actually a nice round number. So what is that? Do that math for me here. That is 20 years, right? Okay. So for 20 years, I worked for B2B software companies as a digital marketing manager. So I was literally there when this whole world was being invented as search engine optimization and pay-per-click and digital marketing became a thing. And I was very, very good at it. So I could generate leads for sales to sell. And I was very good at doing this. And I would move from B2B software company to B2B software company to do this. So my last corporate job was for a German software company, and I was managing leads globally. They sold automation software. And long story short is in 2018, I left my corporate job and I basically decided to go full time with what I call TMDS, which is my business, Toronto Mic'd Digital Services, but it's called TMDS. And now what I do is I help people like you podcast. I get sponsors for my podcast. So basically my day-to-day right now is podcasting. I've been living and breathing podcasting since 2006, but I do it full-time for TMDS since 2018. That is 7 years ago, Nick.
Oh, I see. So you were like working while you started doing this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a side hustle. So this is an interesting pivot. I feel like back in the day, Nick, I don't know if you remember, but side hustles were frowned upon. Like you had to keep it a secret from it was a big secret.
I did side hustling too.
And did you tell your employer?
No, I did not.
No.
People knew, but but I was good at it.
Well, the great fear I had was because my side hustle was kind of public. And then once, people would say, oh, you're Toronto Mike. And it was like, oh yeah. But it was like, that's a side hustle. I don't want these streams to cross. This is my corporate job. This pays my mortgage. This is sending my kids to university. And I'm building this thing on the side. And basically what I was doing was I was building this thing on the side until it could, like you're raising a child, until it could sustain itself. Yeah. And I could pay my mortgage and send my kids to university with that.
Yeah, that's great. So that's so that's how you got into it. Now, when you started off, did you think about that you were going to do podcasting, or was it something completely different?
This is going to come right back to you, Nick.
This is always the thing about businesses. You start off with one idea, and then it evolves into something else.
So, great question, Nick. So, because the other podcast beyond Toronto Mike, where you can hear the voice of Nick Ainis, is the Humble and Fred podcast. Couple of radio legends in this market. In 2006, I was a blogger. Okay, Nick. So the side hustle, the TMU, the Toronto Mike Universe, I had a blog, torontomike.com. And through this blog, by writing about radio and Humble and Fred and stuff, I became good friends with Humble and Fred. And in 2006, they could not get a terrestrial radio job. They had been fired from Mix 99.9. They couldn't get a job. And I was having lunch with Humble and Fred in 2006. And I said, guys, it's 2006. There's a burgeoning new format. It was just added to Apple's iTunes. It's called podcasts. You could broadcast without being on terrestrial radio. I had this combo. And they said, Mike, what are you talking about? And I explained it all. It was probably only showed up in iTunes in 2005, I think. But these guys, I educated them. I said, listen, I've been in digital marketing. I was in digital marketing, so I understood the back end, server side. I understand the scripting. I said, all a podcast is an XML file. Like I had reverse engineered this thing from listening to a Ricky Gervais podcast in 2006. And I said, I can write the XML and I can submit it to iTunes. And all you have to do is record a audio file, an MP3, and give me that MP3. We'll put it on a public web server. The XML will link to it, and then people can subscribe and listen to your broadcast on demand at their leisure. This is happening, guys. I remember this chat. We gave it a go. So in December 2006, me, Humble, Fred, we went to Dan Duran's house in Bloor West Village before he moved up to Peterborough, and we recorded audio, pretty good audio. Mike, I was still learning that part, but we'll get to that in a minute. But basically, we had a great broadcast, and they handed over this MP3 file. I had it on a USB stick. That's the era we were in.
Wow.
And then I took it, and I made it a podcast, and we are still podcasting today. But that was like my introduction to podcasting, Excellent. And I ran with it.
And so when did you start Toronto Mike too?
So great question. So Humble and Fred would do what I call one-off, sporadic. Like, I don't know, every few months they'd record an episode. And then in 2011, this is after Fred got fired from being a program director in, where was he? In Peterborough, Ontario for Chorus. And Howard got fired from a new job he got at Boom, but it was Easy Rock and it became Boom. He got fired. He was doing a show of Colleen Rush.
Fired a lot, eh?
Well, that's radio, man.
Holy shit.
They did get fired a lot. So they were all that, and we decided, what if we made this the Humble and Fred job, and they recorded, this is
they
2011.
Should call it Fumble and Fred.
It was October 2011 where we pledged we will do it every morning like it's on the radio. We'll do it every morning, 3, 4, I think at the beginning, 5 days a week, and we were going to make it a regular job, build an audience, and then sell advertising. And we started their podcast in October 2011. I'm telling you, Nick, by November 2011, having watched it from that perspective, I said, hey, I think I could leave my comfort zone and I could do that. I was the back end guy. I'm like, what if I bought gear, which you're talking into right now, and I set up a studio and I learned how to create high fidelity audio, how to record, how to edit, how to do all that stuff in the front end, if you will, speak into a mic, learn how to speak English, and then I could do the A to Z myself. So I started Toronto Mike. This is a long-winded way of saying Toronto Mike's first episode dropped in August 2012.
Oh, that's amazing. So it's a good story. You see, everything starts with a dream, and sometimes it's a side hustle. So this is to all the listeners out there. So don't be afraid to live your dream. And it all starts with a single step. There's a saying in Zen Buddhism, a journey of 1,000 miles is accomplished in a single step. So you just have to, make clear what your vision is, and at the end of the day, work towards that slowly. And it can be slowly, it could be quickly, but it's for those people who are really afraid to take that step.
Can I add into that, which is
You can't make me look bad.
No, I would never make you look bad. But to speak to that, so I definitely lacked confidence to make the side hustle the main thing, because I knew I needed to make X dollars a year because living in Toronto, having a house and having 4 kids, you got to make X. And I didn't trust I could make X. But what gave me the confidence and the courage to try with TMDS 7 years ago, I got to correct that in post, 7 years ago, was the fact that my wife had a full-time job at a bank, one of the big banks. And I felt like, okay, if worst case scenario is I can only make, let's say worst case scenario is I can only pull in a couple of $1,000 a month or something like that, we can still pay the mortgage and make ends meet, and then we could build from there. So I feel like if I were, for example, if I were a single dad, or if my wife had a lower paying job, I don't know if I would have made the
Yeah.
jump. Like, I think that's a key part, is if you have some support where you are allowed to fail.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, because a lot of people, they work because they have no other option.
Right.
And that's the realities of life. So you have to put yourself in a position. So that's another good point. You have to put yourselves in a position where you are going to financially make it too. So I did the same thing. So I did my side hustle, and then I got a project in 2007, my first project. And basically I said, okay, I'm going to do this project. I'm ready to go. It's going to sustain me. And so I did it. So very similar to what you went through. I went through the same thing, and it was pretty amazing. And I never looked back. I couldn't imagine myself going back to a job. I'd probably kill myself.
You know what? I echo those sentiments. I always say, like, one thing that really agrees with me is building my own calendar and having this, so I can build my calendar, and if I need to, I don't know, if my kid's got a play or something, I can build the calendar so I'm available for the play. I can pick them up at different things, but I really enjoy that flexibility. I can go for a bike ride at this time and things like that. I can't imagine going back to a corporate job in an office.
Yeah, it would be suicidal.
Well,
Suicidal.
hopefully those windows don't open.
Yeah, exactly. So that's amazing, Mike. So that's a great story, and we really captured how you got into your own business. And I think from people listening today, you're gonna get a lot from that. So the side hustle is a big thing, and a lot of people do it. So let's talk a little bit. I want to get a snapshot of your business.
Okay.
So we touched on it just a little while ago. So you've got you're doing your own podcast, and I guess you're getting some money. You got sponsors for that. Is that how you make your money on your podcast?
Yeah, but not enough to only do my podcast. So yes.
No, it's just one revenue stream.
That's one revenue stream, is sponsors of Toronto Mike. Absolutely.
So is that that's the only thing where you make money on Toronto Mike? Is there other revenue streams?
No, right now it's I work with, I call them partners, and there's a great deal involved and entailed there. But
I'm one of them, right?
You're one of them, absolutely. Yeah. So just last night, I went to an event, a media event for Toronto Maple Leafs baseball, for example, because they're a partner, so I'm going to have an event there at the home opener on Sunday. And I give out Toronto Maple Leafs history books to every guest who comes on Toronto Mike. And I did put Snow, the rapper, who was famous for Informer, I did broker a deal where he became the official ambassador of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. So that's one. So yes, of course, Nick Ainis and your wonderful podcasts and books. But I'm just shouting out Toronto Maple to just illustrate. So that's one partner I work with in a variety of ways, and they will cut me a check every month.
Well, they're a sponsor. They're a sponsor. Okay, so you have your own. Do you have any other shows that you're doing? Or
I know I only have one. I have one. I focus on one show. It's my baby, and then all my other podcasting endeavors are other people's shows.
Yeah, so I do too, because I've got two interests. I've got one where I'm very focused on the condo industry, Toronto construction industry, and the housing industry, and then the second one is that. What is that? Another Building Toronto Skyline.
Yeah, for the camera.
Yeah, for the camera. Wow.
That's good.
Excellent. Great visual effects. And the other one is Building Success Series, because I'm passionate about, making money and, building other people, building businesses and learning from people and, getting ideas from people. And this is a fascinating way to do that. So, talking about it all the time, maybe something's going to happen even bigger and greater and whatnot.
Yes.
Now, one thing on my end, I haven't focused. I haven't actually gone and pushed people to sponsor yet. I've got a few people that I did reach out to, and it's got a little bit of cashola there, and so it worked out okay. But you've got this ongoing. Do they pay you monthly?
Yeah, right now every sponsor pays monthly. But just to speak to that point, which is I want to make sure it's clear that when I launched Toronto Mike in August 2012, I didn't have any sponsors when I launched. And in fact, I was primarily for over a year. I focused on the content. Building the audience. I believe in building the community, so I put a lot of effort into not just that, I put out this piece of audio and people listen. That maybe, yes, whatever. But I'm really interested in building this community. I have these live events. There's a couple coming up. And it took, I don't know the exact number, but it took over a year before I added my first sponsor, which was a craft brewery who basically fell in love with the show and said, hey, could we be a part of this?
Well, that sounds pretty amazing.
Shout out to Great Lakes Brewery.
So as far as I know, so you do your podcast and then you're producing other people's podcasts, right?
Yes, sir.
Those are your revenue streams.
Those are the two biggies.
Yeah.
I do a few, like there is some lingering stuff from my old job where I still maintain some people's web presence. I'll be like literally like their, I guess we used to call it webmaster. I don't know if that's an okay term in 2025. And there's still a few where I manage their PPC accounts with Google. And there's still a few lingering smaller clients that I manage their social media accounts. But the core of what I do day to day is either Toronto Mike, my podcast, or one of the great podcasts I produce, like this very podcast we're listening to right now.
So how many? So that's a good point. So one thing that I can already see is there's a great opportunity for you to not only produce but build communities. You should be charging for that. You should be charging me for that.
Explain further, Nick.
Well, you said you promoted your Toronto Mike podcast show, right? How did you do that? You helped build that community, right?
Yes, sir.
You did it through probably social media, other ways, and that should be an added service that you offer to all your podcast producing gigs, right?
No, I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because I need that actually. Because right now I'm not really posting to them. I haven't even posted this stuff, which is a disgrace. But
so you're focusing on building the content, and then at some point you need to amplify the message beyond simply Humble and Fred and Toronto Mike.
You got it, because you do that for Humble and Fred. I'm pretty sure, right?
I do, yeah. They wouldn't know where. Yeah, I do that for Humble and Fred. I'll leave it there.
They don't know. I get it with those Humble and Fred.
But Humble and Fred, let's not bury the lead. These two guys,
they've been around for a while.
Have been around. They've been a team since 1989, and they've achieved great success. And they were the morning show, and they were very popular with their key demographic, which was young adults.
Yeah. There's no question about it. And it was a great opportunity for you to build your brand and gain credibility because you produce a pretty amazing show.
Thank you. So
let me ask you a question. So Toronto Mike, obviously, where's there an opportunity in Toronto Mike? You got sponsors. What's a way to take it to the next level?
Well, we have to. This is what it depends how you define next level because
money, making more money for yourself.
So okay. Glad you're here because there's something going on right now, which is that Humble and Fred decided at the end of 2024, they decided that they wanted to make more money from Humble and Fred. And they thought the best way to do that is to have programmatic ads, which is automatically inserted advertisements. So if you listen to Humble and Fred today, it opens with a couple of pre-recorded ads. And there's a couple of times during the episode where they interrupt the program to bring you a couple of pre-recorded ads. And at the end of the podcast, there's a couple more. So what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's 8 pre-recorded 30-second ads inserted into the podcast dynamically.
So that's a great opportunity.
Yes. Okay. So here's my problem.
Are you doing it?
So I know based on like my listenership versus theirs and stuff that I am leaving a good chunk of money on the table right now. Right. But, Nick, here's my problem, and maybe you can slap me silly here.
I'm ready.
You're going to do that anyway.
I'm getting up.
I don't want my baby Toronto Mike, I don't want it to have 8 inserted ads for companies I don't know. Like the thing about right now
you should. Well, you know what? Don't do it for companies you know. Target things that are related to your show.
The way it works is you're on a platform. I'm going to use the specific podcast platform we moved Humble and Fred to. So right now, my podcast, Toronto Mic'd, is hosted on a server co-located by a small company in Guelph. Okay. Shout out to Ian Service, who I work with very closely on this. So he's like the guy in charge of the server. And I put, as you can imagine, hundreds of hours of MP3. Listen, I'm at episode 1,690. Okay. There's a lot of data there. So what we did for Humble and Fred is, because I used to have Humble and Fred in the same system, but because if I wanted those, if they wanted the ads inserted dynamically, we had to move them to a system called Acast. So now there's a big tech company called Acast. It's their server. We moved everything there. That was quite a job. We did that during the Christmas break. I did it. It was a lot of work. Okay, so you have Humble and Fred on Acast. Acast is now selling the ads that get inserted. So Humble and Fred don't have any say in what ads being inserted. If it's
Wait a minute, Acast is selling these?
Right. So Acast has a bunch of podcasts on their server. They sell the ads. Let's say it's, RBC. Okay, I'm thinking of a big bank. RBC ad gets inserted because they sold it, and then they pay Humble and Fred a CPM. I don't know the specifics on this, but it might be something like, let's say, $35 CPM. That means for every 1,000 listeners, Humble and Fred will get $35 for that ad.
I don't know about that.
Well, so it adds up, good. But you have
But why wouldn't you want to control all your advertising?
Well, this is why we're having this conversation, Nick, and this is why I'm not there right now. So we have a little fork in the road with Humble and Fred where I'm still producing and doing everything. I just put I put the Humble and Fred podcasts on the Acast server so they can have the 8 ads inserted. Toronto Mic'd remains on the Guelph server, which is like an independent. There's no inserted ads. The only ads you hear on Toronto Mic'd are ads I read live. Like I'll do a live read. I'll talk about your podcast. I'll talk about Palma Pasta. I'll talk about Ridley Funeral Home. I talk about Yes, We Are Open from Moneris. I talk about, recyclemyelectronics.ca. I do it all live.
So those are for your sponsors though.
Right. But I do not have dynamically inserted pre-recorded ads like Humble and Fred. So there is a revenue stream that Humble and Fred have that I have opted to not have because I don't want that on. I don't like how, when I listen to podcasts, I hate it when I have to listen to 8 pre-recorded ads. And I don't want people to listen to Toronto Mic'd and have to endure that just so I can have more money. So I have made a decision to leave money on the table to preserve the integrity of the fiercely independent podcast I produce.
So is there another way you can do it?
Well, I can continue to do what I'm doing.
Right now you've got all your sponsors. So you can either continue to build your sponsorship, or you can, sell something to them as well, in addition to.
I'm all ears to this. I personally would rather, I can go up to, the owner of Great Lakes Brewery, have a beer with him, talk to him, and then have an event at his venue, like where it's a true partnership. There's a lot more than just talking about them on the air and giving beer to guests, okay? But with the other model, the programmatic ads that are dynamically inserted, you might get an ad for, let's say, Esso Gas. I'm just making this up, but Esso Gas, there is no partnership with Esso Gas. Humble and Fred don't even know the Esso Gas ad is in there. It's like it's all dynamically inserted depending on like where you are and all these other factors. So they don't have a relationship with Esso. They're never going to have an event at Esso or have the guy from Esso on the show. Like this is just simply not the spirit I'm interested in. Yeah, but I am leaving money on the table, and Humble and Fred opted not to leave money on the table.
So you know what? You should control your advertising. That's a good thing. I think that's a good thing what you're doing.
That's where I'm at.
And then, but find ways to get more revenue out of your existing sponsors, or run short-term ads for other people.
Okay.
There's people that maybe don't want to do the monthly sponsorship.
Oh, so like a per episode?
I ran into that. So a couple of guys, I asked for some sponsorship. They just gave me a bit of cash instead. So, it could be a call out, could be like, you guys together create the ad together, something you're going to do, something creative as well, and do it old school style, but you control your own advertising. So you can get money from your sponsors additional revenue from that, or you can just get like a one-off sponsorship too.
I have a question on that note. You just sparked an idea I've been thinking about on bike rides, which is, what if so I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. So we'll have whatever. The guy from Sloan will come over. I don't know, Steve Paikin will come over, Ron McLean, whatever. Like, I'm going to continue to do that. But what if I had episodes that were pay to play episodes? Like, what if I offered it, and I'll make up numbers so they're nice and round because I'm not as smart as you, but like, let's say anyone can spend $1,000 to have an episode of Toronto Mikes, where like you could be the CEO of a mining company or something. For $1,000, you sit here, we have a great hour chat about yours, and it goes into the Toronto Mikes feed, but that episode was paid for. Like,
yeah, that's great.
I've had this idea in a bike ride, and I just don't know how to like market that without sounding cheesy. Like, how do you even tell the world?
Well, you're a nice guy. You're focusing on content, but now you got to focus on, raising some additional revenue for it yourself.
Right.
And you deserve it. So you've got sponsors, you've got advertising, and then there's paid guests for an episode.
I like this idea.
There you go. Done.
So you've already increased the revenue of TMDS, and we've only been talking for 35 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But now you have to implement that action. How do you go about doing that?
And how do you market? I thought maybe a good place for that kind of messaging is LinkedIn. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it could be LinkedIn, it could be social media, but you also have to sort of network a little bit too. It's a lot of networking. So there's another idea.
But I do a lot of networking. Go ahead.
There's another idea. So Toronto Mike, another way you can do it is events. So you already do your events, but you got to make money on those events. I'm
still listening because this is another spiritual
so you have this
problem I have.
Well, there's no spiritual problem. That's
are you going to suggest insanity. I charge to attend?
Tickets? Yeah, you sell tickets.
I've been told this.
You sell tickets, but they got to get a good thing.
Yeah.
Not that half pint that I got when I came over to see your.
Okay, but you didn't pay for that. Nick.
I would have paid for it. I would have got a free pint. You should have given me a. I would.
They sell beer there. You could have bought yourself a second pint.
How many of your fans would pay to come to your event?
I think a number of fans would pay to come to a TMLX event. Yes.
Yeah. But let me ask you: are there any podcasts that are pay for subscription?
Okay, this is.
I'm just asking.
Okay. Yes, there are some podcasts you can only access through Patreon, right? So if you become like a $10 a month patron or something, you can access that. But a true podcast, which means available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, there's no. Yeah, they're all free.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, they're all free.
Because I'm like, I'm kind of new to
Nick, can I follow up on that? So I'm going to have the 18th TMLX event on Sunday, actually. And then on June 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Great Lakes Brewery, we have the 19th TMLX event. And I know I'm going to see you there because I want to introduce you to Snow, because Snow's going to be there.
Snow,
you're going to love it. He's no informer, and neither are you, okay? But here's my thing.
I'm an informant.
He's not going to like that.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to tell him that. Okay. Yeah. He's not going to like that. The guy served time. You don't want to get on his bad side. Yeah. He was in jail when Informer hit, but okay.
Oh, wow.
Go listen to him on Toronto Mike. But I don't spiritually, and again, you're going to Mike, get over it. This is a business, and that I can already answer for myself. But I don't like the idea of charging my listeners to come to my event, because I like to give this back to them. This is a free event. You're going to get free palma pasta. You get free food. You get a free drink. It may not be a big enough glass, but at the brewery, you get a bigger glass. It's the smaller glasses at the GLB Brew Pub. And if you want more beer after the free one, you can buy it because you're at a GLB. You can buy more Great Lakes beer. But I don't want to charge for that. I would rather make less money than charge for that.
Well, charge your sponsors.
Now we're talking.
Charge your sponsors for the event. Promoting the event.
So right now, for example.
So you know what? Yeah. I did an event for Princess Margaret Cancer to raise funds for Princess Margaret.
Very good.
And I got $5,000 sponsorships. I sold sponsorships throughout the night. $5,000, $2,500.
But that's for a charity. That's not for the TMDS fund.
Okay, so
It's
that's
a
what
bit
you
different,
got to
right?
milk your sponsors.
I do the
bit.
Terry Fox run, and I'm like, everyone who pledges today will have it matched by this company. And then literally that day, I had like $5,000 in pledges, and none of that money goes to me. But I think I got that money not because they wanted to give me $5,000. They wanted to support the Terry Fox Foundation.
You got to make some money on your event somehow. I don't know. I like the spirit of like holding the event for your audience. That makes sense. But maybe there's a spin on it. So you can still do that though. Right. But maybe there's a spin. But don't forget, you're holding Toronto. You're hosting everything Toronto, right?
Yes.
So you can have Toronto themed events where you can charge for it. So you have so many guests. You have a huge network. Imagine you're able to leverage that network, do an event with like some famous people, and hold a Toronto party, and charge money for it.
So you're saying I could continue to make TMLX a free event?
TMLX
I just have
is
a new
free
event stream,
but except you can get your sponsors to sponsor that.
Good idea, Nick. Yeah, that I'm into. Because when I do have an event at Palma's Kitchen, for example, I do bring like 100 people to this venue, and most of them leave with a full shopping cart of goods, and we'll be back because they can't believe how good it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another Toronto mic event could be something related to Toronto. It's a great idea, some theme, and that's what you're charging for.
Like a bike tour of all the hidden historical spots that are discussed.
I think I just threw up.
You could get an e-bike, Nick.
No, do something really cool. You have so many, like, take your TMLS guests, and you could have like a sports fan day.
Okay.
And you charge for it.
Yeah.
And you get these guys to attend for free, and then you know what? Or if they will. I don't know. Maybe they don't like you so much.
Well, how did I get to 18?
And then you know what? You charge $500 and give some of it away to charity too.
Okay. Yeah, Nick, this is another good. So already here,
amazing.
We aren't even wrapped up yet. We have another 10 minutes to go, and already you've given me a couple of very good ideas.
And that's just Toronto Mike. So now I'm gonna move. Let's move on because you got some opportunities in Toronto Mike, and then the next thing is how many shows are you producing right now? Like you got your gig, that takes time. I'm sure you've got Humble and Fred is a lot of work too.
Humble and Fred, luckily they record their own audio and then they send the MP3 to me. So because I'm, they record at 7:30 in the morning and I'm getting kids to school and stuff. But every client I do something different for. But I don't know. Let's say 10. I mean, I can't because some podcasts are regular, some are weekly, some are every 2 weeks, some are monthly.
So, by the way, when I give you this advice and additional revenue streams, they can't be on me, obviously. Okay,
well, you're the first guy I'm going to test them on.
I get freebies now. So,
I want a T-shirt. I want a Building Success T-shirt. So
here's some things that you can do with your other clients. So, number one, you can increase your revenue based on increasing how many shows you're producing. Okay, so that's one. That's one way.
That's true.
Your existing clients. So, we talked about a few revenue streams in terms of, charging per episode, obviously, but having that additional service where you promote their podcast on social media. You do everything for them.
Right.
Because I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah, I should be doing that for you.
You know what? I'm so busy, but the problem with me is I've got like a specific branding that I got to have, and if it's not perfect, I get upset.
Yeah, but I'm perfect.
Did you fix
every
that
time.
thing? Did you fix that thing, by the way?
Literally. By the way, I have a question for you on this note. So, because you're a valued client, but at 10 p.m. yesterday, you phoned me and said you wanted an edit made to the title of the podcast, right?
You did it right away?
But you were going to be in my basement the next morning at 8 something. So literally,
I could have told you in the morning.
In 10 hours, you were going to be down here in person where you could have told me. So was it so? And I'm curious, was it so time sensitive? It couldn't wait till. And I was happy. I did it right away.
I like calling you at night. What can I say?
Well, I just got back from this Toronto Maple Leafs event, so I was feeling like feeling good here, and
and then I called you and I slapped you in the face.
And then I did the edit right away. But I was thinking, he's going to be here in 10 hours. Like
why the fuck did he call me at night? Well, because you know what? I'm working on getting organized for the show.
I was top of mind.
And then I see this and I said, what the fuck? This fucking mic. No, I didn't say that. I said, Mike, can you fix this for me? So I see things like that. It's a personal branding thing, right?
So get her done.
So here, just joking around, but hope I didn't make you feel bad.
No, I actually right away did it.
But here's like, let's not get off topic here. So the revenue stream is promotion. So you're producing, but you're promoting.
Right.
Additional service.
Right.
Now, I just thought about a couple of other ones.
Okay.
So you have, what is the store? Where does my stuff go to? Where's my information? Does it get stored off into your Guelph?
Nope. You're on a server hosted by Spotify.
Oh, it's hosted by Spotify.
You ever heard of them?
Nah, I don't remember.
No, you're not in Guelph.
Why are you in Guelph?
I'm in Guelph because I'm so fiercely independent. I don't want to be beholden to any tech giant.
Okay, so here's the thing: storage.
Yeah.
Could you charge for storage for people?
Well, because
it's on
Spotify store.
Okay.
Yeah, I could do it if they were on the Guelph server.
Okay, so what about that other thing with Humble and Fred? Advertising, what is that? What's it called?
Programmatic dynamic ad insertion.
Ad insertion.
Yeah, dynamic ad insertion, which just means that...
Can anyone do it? Can I do it?
Yeah, so I
can do it, but I won't make any money.
I believe, right. Well, it's CPM, so it's if you have multiple thousands, you can make a few shekels. But yeah, so
there's there's a possible other revenue stream for your shows. So those are for each.
But didn't
client.
we cover this, Nick? I told you. I'm like this
no,
one.
No, that's you. That's you.
Okay.
That's
no for others. Yeah, right.
For others, if you're producing
popular
a show,
shows. Yeah, for popular shows.
Yeah, let's say you're producing a show. I don't even know if I'd want that. Right. But that's a potential added revenue stream, or maybe it's you've got the advertisers, and you're putting them on other people's shows, and you get a cut of it.
Like a commission.
You're selling advertising for all the shows you're producing.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, a really good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Now, some shows are literally built to make, like, this is existing to make money, and I'm going to squeeze every ounce of juice out of this lemon.
You have to squeeze
But other
out.
shows, and I feel like yours is in this category, it's a branding exercise where it's almost more important it be representative of the brand and indicative of this brand than it is that you squeeze every juice of lemon, every ounce of juice out of that lemon.
Yeah, so for example, like you can get me home builder advertisements.
Yeah.
Like my
But now I feel like I'm in sales, okay? So.
My tribute. That would go great for building Toronto Skyline, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Or Mattamy Homes or something like that.
Yeah, if you want to reach the people interested in development, yeah.
So there's more revenue streams. So let's talk about producing as well.
Sure.
So here we are, and I love the basement because this is where the garage. This is where it all happens.
It's like punk, man. DIY,
no, it's cool. It's very cool. Okay. It's kind of very authentic.
So I have multiple models, right? There are clients I have where I bring the studio to them, right? There's particularly popular with corporate clients.
Well, why don't you do this? Yeah. Instead of bringing the studio to them, why don't you get a location where you can rent the studio to anyone?
Okay, so I actually have a new client. We're kicking things off next week where part of the deal is I can record in very nice space at One Yorkville.
One Yorkville, yeah.
Yeah, One Yorkville. And that's part of the deal because there are some guests and some clients that don't want to go to South Etobicoke, depending where they're located, but can make their way to
One Yorkville. Is that your space now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I now have access to it. It's sort of a barter, part of a bartering system.
But can you bring anyone anytime?
Yeah, I suppose if it's available.
Well, it's not suppose. It's like you.
Well, I don't own the space. I can use this space. I'm sure with a courtesy heads up, I can use this space absolutely, and not.
Is it all set up?
Well, I would bring I'm very keen on bringing my gear.
Well, here's the thing. You want to. Okay, so there's a company called, and I don't want to plug them, but
go ahead.
Startwell. Have you ever heard of Startwell? So I was originally gonna go there before I met you because I didn't know anything about podcasting. And thank God I didn't do that.
Thank
Because
the
you
Lord.
know what? I entered the universe of TMDS.
Well, you're in the TMU, the Toronto Mike universe.
The TMU.
And you're an FOTM, friend of Toronto Mike.
Okay.
And you do attend TMLX events, which are Toronto Mike listener experiences.
You see? So I hit the jackpot, in my opinion.
Alphabet soup.
So, because I'm learning a lot, and, you're a great producer, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Tell that to Humble and Fred.
But so there's an opportunity for you to get people who want to rent a studio.
Right. You mean and have someone else produce it?
You have it set up. Well, it's all your equipment and everything.
Because I do rent the studio, but I got to produce, and then this is one of my.
Well, you can have it. You can have it so that you have this extra space somewhere that you can rent out, and people can go do their own thing whenever they want.
Interesting. Okay, I'm listening. I'm learning a lot today. This has been good.
Yeah.
This has been great.
I think that would be a cool thing. And then you can increase your capacity too. You can do your thing from here, because I would come here obviously, and then you can increase your capacity. So you try to you can get more clients like me, and then you'll have to hire an assistant at some point.
You just touched on something here. So in the last few minutes here, I do struggle with how do I scale this thing, because right now it's me, myself, and it's fun. Like you said, the whole goal is to have fun and do what you enjoy. So I've achieved that. But if I wanted to make more money, at some point you need to bring on help.
You need to bring on help. Yeah.
But then you have that I literally go on a bike ride and think, oh, I could scale this thing and really kick it into the next level. But then you would have other people working for you. You'd outsource things. And I wonder if, I struggle with this, Nick.
Yes. No, I understand.
That's why you're here helping me. You've been helpful. So I've learned a lot. I feel like I was worried going into this thing, but as we're coming out in a couple of minutes here, I got to say, I'm glad we did this. It wasn't scary. It wasn't painful. It was very educational.
Yeah. And then on another side, there's other things you can do is we talked about on the event side, we talked about, here's another thing. You can write a book about podcasting, what it takes, an informational thing. And you can do some courses on podcasting. You can teach people how to do a podcast by going to you, obviously. But you can talk about, rather than focus on how to do a podcast, you can focus on what makes a good podcast. You want to be a podcaster, focus on the content scope. And
it's good. You
should write about your journey. And you can do courses. They can be online. They can be at events where you're teaching people about podcasting, about how to be an authentic podcaster. That's another way to make some money there.
And I could leverage the fact I'm the official Canadian correspondent for CNN.
What can I say?
Did you know that, Nick?
So how did you get that?
Put that in my bio.
How did you get that gig?
A producer of CNN This Morning with Audie Cornish. I believe she's the current host. I've talked to her twice now. Is a big fan of Toronto Mike, listens to Toronto Mike, and wrote me an email and said, would you be Audie's guest tomorrow? And I said yes. So I did one, and I guess I passed the audition, because then on election day, they said, we need to talk to a Canadian. They said, would you come back? They said on a Friday, would you come back Monday morning, election day, and talk to Audie? And I said, okay. So that they just kept asking.
Yeah, so there you go.
So that was 12
years,
amazing. 13 years. It was 13 years of blood, sweat, and tears to get those emails from the producer at CNN.
So you can easily write a book these days. Okay. It's very easy to do. You write about your experience, and you can have courses and events and workshops on how to be an authentic podcast host.
I love that. We should tag team that. It'll be building success for your podcast, and you can be the business guy. I can be the creative.
We'll charge $1,000 a ticket.
Oh, too low.
5,000.
Now you've got my attention.
So we get 100 people, $5,000.
How's that math work in there?
That's a lot.
Is that a lot? Okay, let's. This is goals. You need to have goals, right?
Yeah. So there you go, Mike. I mean, Is that it? You cut me off? Yeah,
Well, you can talk over this. It's nice and low.
So you know what? We definitely. So how was the coaching?
I loved it. Honestly, I was worried going in, like, oh, Nick's going to beat me up. It's going to be intrusive. I'm uncomfortable. I didn't find it uncomfortable. I learned a great deal, and now I have these ideas. Like, oh, I'm going to go for a bike ride later today. It's a beautiful day out there. I'm sure I'll see you on the trail, Nick. I'm going to be thinking about these things, and I'm sure one or two of these things is going to happen because I'm a man of action.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. So you're only going to get this in Building Success series. Start a business, grow a business.
Here's a way to help get subscribers to Building Success. I take this episode and I put this episode as is in the Toronto Mike feed.
Oh, man. Now you're talking.
Let's do it, buddy.
You're going to do it?
Dare me to do it.
I dare you to do it.
I'm going to do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Woo!
For listening to Building Success series with Nick Ainis.
Yeah.
FOTM Nick Ainis, a podcast breaking down real estate, investing, business growth, and making money. Proudly brought to you by Nick Ainis Enterprises. Please share, like, and subscribe. See you again. I say see you again in 2 weeks. But we're going back to back, baby, like the Blue Jays in 92, 93, right,
wow.
Nick?
Yeah, doubleheader, man.
So we'll see ya.
Hopefully we won't get drunk. Episode 2.
See you in a bit.